You don't voluntarily join the cult of the printed circuit board. You get drafted by an algorithm. It started with a 15-second YouTube short of peel fetish, that slow, static-charged removal of plastic from tempered glass set to lo-fi hip-hop. We stared at the all-white minimalist build on Instagram, glanced at our own desks, and realized our lives resembled crime scenes. We convinced ourselves that if we could just cable manage a desk, we could cable manage our failing mental health. Then we watched Linus Sebastian, the chaos gremlin of Surrey. We saw him drop a $2,000 component wearing socks and sandals and thought, if a man wearing socks with sandals can build a supercomputer, surely we, the semi-illiterate, can too. They sold us the adult Legos lie. They told us it was just plugging shapes into slots. They omitted the part where bending a single motherboard pin turns your paycheck into a coaster. We didn't just drink the Kool-Aid, we chugged the coolant. We told ourselves that spending $3,000 on hardware is frugal because Steam games cost $5. We called it long-term savings to mask the immediate bankruptcy. We thought we were building a machine to play games. We were wrong. We were building a machine to troubleshoot drivers. It began with the Budget King. We bought a Ryzen 5 APU and a generic $40 black box that felt as flimsy as a soda can. The I/O shield sliced our fingers open like a deli meat slicer, baptizing the rig in type O negative. Miraculously, you hit the switch, and the thing actually posted. The fans hummed. We stood back with hands on hips, convinced that plugging in a power cord made us Oppenheimer, minus the intelligence. We were digital peasants celebrating our mediocrity in the 1080p slums. We played on medium settings and we were blissfully stupid. We didn't know what ray tracing was, so we didn't care that our puddles weren't reflective. We were the smart ones. We yammered over price-to-performance ratios and laughed at the suckers buying flagship garbage. Then we ruined everything. We installed MSI Afterburner. We saw the yellow temperature graph floating in the top left corner. We were happy, stupid cattle grazing in the 60 hertz pasture until we installed the misery gauge. Suddenly, 60 FPS wasn't smooth. It was a stuttering, unplayable mess. We stopped playing the game to stare at the thermals. The side panel came off. That is when the obsession went terminal. Survival in the forums requires fluency in the dialect of the basement engineer. It starts with the bottleneck. It's tech bro dysmorphia, a pathological obsession with phantom deficiencies. It's the neurotic terror that our hardware is conspiring to rob us of frames our aging eyes can't physically perceive. We burn $500 to fix a phantom problem. Then we play the silicon lottery, astrology for guys who think owning a screwdriver counts as a personality. We pray our specific chip is 1% better than the next guy's so we can feel superior on Reddit. We obsess over cable hygiene. It's the mullet technique, a facade of order masking a rat's nest of cables that violates 3 separate fire codes and basic decency. We spend hours zip-tying junk nobody sees. Then comes the coil whine, a high-pitched electronic scream that only happens on $1,000 cards, the audible frequency of buyer's remorse. Then there's the specter of thermal throttling. It's a compensation mechanism. We treat thermal throttling like a personal moral failing rather than simple physics. It means we were too cheap to buy the big cooler. And we install bloatware. This is malware disguised as a lighting controller required to run the RGB lights we paid extra for. We buy the lights, then curse the app. Building isn't enough. We need tribal warfare to justify the credit card debt. It's a civil war fought entirely to soothe buyer's remorse. On one side, we have the NVIDIA sheep. We happily pay the greed tax to a corporate monopoly just to see a green logo. We get mocked for overpaying, but we smugly tell the other side, at least my software isn't cursed. Opposing us are the amniotics of Team Red. They endure random crashes and black screens just to save $50. They scream about FPS per dollar, which is just code for I'm broke but proud. Then we fight about the wind. The Noctua purists worship ugly beige plastic and silence. The AIO elitists want their rig to look like a neon aquarium. The air guys call liquid coolers at ticking time bombs, waiting to destroy the carpet. The water guys call air coolers giant ugly bricks. It's a vigorous slap fight between people whose only source of vitamin D is the glow of an IPS panel. Both sides spend more cycles rendering angry YouTube comments than rendering actual textures. The madness escalates with a YouTube video. We watch Steve Burke, the tech Jesus of thermal paste. He looks into the camera with dead eyes and tells us our case airflow is suboptimal. We feel shame. We stop buying what we need and start buying vanity. We drop $100 on cable mod custom cables so the wires look pretty behind the display panel. Then we bring home the God object, the RTX 4090. It's the size of a cinder block. It costs more than your first car and weighs about the same. But we don't enjoy it. We live in terror. We stare at the 12V HWPR connector, convinced it'll melt and torch the house. We treat this hunk of silicon like it's a harvested organ on its way to a transplant. To feed the beast, we buy a 1200-watt Platinum power supply. We call it efficiency, but we really just bought a nuclear reactor to run Minecraft. We replaced perfectly good rotors because we heard a faint drone. We spend thousands optimizing the machine to run in a vacuum, just so we can sit in the quiet and browse Amazon for more parts. Survey the asylum. Look at the other inmates. First is the unicorn vomit kid. His room looks like a disco exploded inside a blender. Every inch of his desk pulsates with aggressive rainbow waves. He's 0 and 15 in match because he's tweaking the hue of his mousepad instead of aiming. It's a seizure warning in tower form. Then there's the brown and tan zealot. He hates photons. He hates fun. His computer is a black void filled with brown and medical cream fans that look like prosthetic limbs from the 1970s. He patrols the forums typing "air cooling never fails" on threads where nobody asked him. Finally, we have the acolyte. He mimics Jay-Z 2 Cents, the grumpy uncle of custom loops. This guy sighs loudly before explaining basic concepts to make himself feel smart. He buys a distro plate not because he understands fluid dynamics, but because the grumpy uncle said it looks clean. He's the maniac using a power drill to tighten delicate motherboard screws. He saw Jay do it once, so now he strips threads at high velocity while we watch in horror. We are the Michael Jordans of lighting money on fire. We call it logic, but it's just delusional mathematics for nerds. We start with the future-proofing Ponzi scheme, a lie we tell our wallets to justify buying hardware that'll be obsolete before the credit card bill arrives. We look in the mirror and say, if I buy the Halo tier now, I won't have to upgrade for 5 years. This is pure fantasy. The moment the 5090 launches, we'll be sweating in line to buy it. Then comes the workstation delusion. We tell everyone we need a 24-core Threadripper processor for productivity. We cosplay as heavy-duty creatives, but the most rendering this machine will ever do is decompressing a JPEG of a cat. In reality, we use this supercomputer to run Microsoft Teams and keep 40 tabs of Google Chrome open without crashing. It's like buying a NASA supercomputer to run a spreadsheet and watch cat videos. We justify the cost by breaking it down to cents per hour. We scream it's basically free if I use it every day, and we lie about the exit strategy. We claim we'll sell our old parts for cash. We won't. We'll shove that expensive pixel pusher into a dark closet until it becomes worthless e-waste. The hobby turns us into smugglers. We start intercepting the delivery truck down the street so our partner doesn't see the box. When they catch us walking in with a fresh graphics card, we panic. We use the warranty replacement lie. Oh, this thing, it didn't cost anything. The company just sent me a fixed one. We lie to the people we love to protect the transistors we worship. Then comes the physical cost. The room is a sauna. Our partner asks why the bedroom is 10 degrees hotter than the kitchen. We push up our glasses and explain that the PC is efficiently exhausting waste heat. It's July. We are sweating through our shirts while sitting still. Your social life disintegrates. We bring a date home and they see the setup. The room glows with the radioactive hue of a cheap laser tag arena, effectively acting as high-powered birth control. They ask if we can turn it off. We can't. We forgot the controller app password 3 years ago. When a friend mentions their laptop is slow, we interrupt. Have you tried undervolting and repasting the IHS? They just walk away. We are alone with the machine. 3 a.m., the hour of regret. We are sitting in the abyss, illuminated only by the radioactive green glow of a $4,000 monolith. The RTX 4090 idles menacingly next to us, bleeding enough BTUs to cook a steak. We are not playing Elden Ring. We are not having fun. We are watching 3D Mark benchmarks run on a loop, praying for the score to go up just 1%. We finally launch a title. It hitches, just once. A normal person would ignore it. We cannot. We immediately quit to desktop, spend the next 4 hours reading Reddit threads from 2018 about frame time variants and kernel conflicts. This is the bottom. We realize we don't actually enjoy gaming anymore. We enjoy optimizing. We've become unpaid custodians of a shrine that depreciates faster than milk. The trap is shut. The Horizon fallacy was the ultimate scam, because we never live in the future. We spent today's rent money to prepare for tomorrow's software, but by the time tomorrow gets here, our rig is obsolete. We are trapped in the upgrade cycle, guarding a depreciating asset that we are too terrified to actually use.